So I just got done watching the Marvel's Spider-Man, the 2017 debuted cartoon series running on Disney XD currently. Um, in my last review, I expressed a lot of concerns. This is the second episode. It's Horizon High Part 2. It's called sort of the second half of the pilot, although it felt as though this episode was two 11-minute episodes sort of stitched together loosely by a plot surrounding Harry Osborn and his experiments that he left behind at Horizon High. So this episode, immediately we go back to the refrain that appears to be the driving force of the show, which is science, 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 science. Ooh, super genius boy, super intelligence, experiments, laboratories, science, Einstein, math equations. There's so much of that shit. And he goes to the super genius school with Anya and I think Miles Morales, and we get Gwen Stacy referenced in this episode as well. The Scorpion is our villain in this episode. He just kind of shows up. He's after some museum gem thing, a MacGuffin, they like to call it in the industry. And then it's told through flashbacks, but then it's kind of unclear when the flashbacks end. So my big thing is his quips are hot trash. Peter Parker's quips or Spider-Man's quips in this show are hot trash. A lot of them just fall flat and seem left field. His sort of nervous bumblingness to imply that he's early in his career as Spider-Man is slightly irritating. So I don't really understand some of these characters, like what their relationship are with Peter Parker yet. In that there's this guy Smythe who has this constant interaction with his dad, kind of plotting these big grand things, to deal with the big bad guys. So Scorpion, I guess, is the bad guy, but then there's like this robot Scorpion thing that comes to fuck shit up. Another thing, we meet Professor Octavius in this episode, who is this young, sort of chubby blonde kid, and Peter Parker is all like, I'm late for school. Can you help me meet Doc Ock or whatever? I've heard he's amazing. And then as they talk, or as they don't talk, he discovers that this kid is Doc Ock. Just sure, it's fine, I guess. There's some really terrible lines. There's this nervous repetition to the show that I find really, really irritating. It felt incredibly, incredibly long, and just full of shit. There's a flashback in this episode to Peter Parker interacting with Uncle Ben, hammering home that with great power comes great responsibility. It's as soon as we're done raking leaves, they keep saying raking leaves. There's 4 times I counted that they said raking leaves in this one single minute and a half flashback. That's absurd. Why are you repeating words and phrases over and over and over again? It's incredibly bizarre writing. It feels like it was written by a kindergartner interacting with their kindergarten teacher. And apparently Uncle Ben was like, I used to never like raking leaves. I used to like painting model trains. But then I figured out, fuck, this was shitty. So I figured out that if I convince everyone in the neighborhood, if I can rake their leaves for a little bit of money, I could save up enough money to buy myself my own model train. And Peter Parker's like, I like that, Uncle Ben. And then it's like, sometimes a little hard work gives you the right kind of break to help you come up with a good idea. And that's something they repeated 3 times in this episode, which was fucking annoying as well. And again, we have Patton Oswalt back for this. I found out that the kid that voices Spider-Man, whose voice I recognized, I thought he was Shinji from Evangelion, but I was wrong. He's Tuxedo Mask in the Sailor Moon dub, at least the new dub that they've done apparently. So that's something. Harry Osborn, the kid, completely characterless. He sends Peter to go pick up his experiments, which it wasn't even made clear in this first episode that they basically switched roles at this prodigious high school, that Harry Osborn and Peter Parker switched roles. He even took his lab directly. It's a bunch of bullshit. There's like way more to this, but he is like, I will say that this Peter Parker, he's what a nice young lad would be how I would describe him. In this episode, he gets his full suit finally. It's kind of unnecessary again because it's like, oh, it's inevitable, and then he just like pops it on. It's got the new suit, just like that, or got the real suit, just like that. Bunch of shit, bunch of bullshit. This young Doc Ock thing is terrible. One thing I experimented with was I closed my eyes and I tried to see if it was any better. And my roommate was kicking around while I was watching this shit. This had to be one of the worst audio experiences anyone's ever had in their entire life. This is shit. This is bullshit. But the amount of characters that they've smashed in right away, that they've introduced already, and can potentially build and become evil and have arcs, I find enough to continue watching. But other than that, this is absolute childish, poor, cheap, trite bullshit. Thanks for watching.